morning and welcome back to another episode of Media in the Morning. I'm Meredith and my co-host, Mr. Diskin, is so happy to be here as co-host and not host. We're really happy and excited about today's episode. We have Paul Chodirker, a good friend and former colleague of ours. He is an entertainment lawyer who worked in private practice for many years, including at the venerable and late Heenan Blakey, and then went to Live Nation for many years, where he worked on entertainment-related legal issues, including working on some pretty major live tours. So we're so happy to have him here. He is now acting as a consultant in the blockchain and IP space. So with that in mind, we're extremely excited to be talking about NFTs, a topic that Matt Diskin really understands a lot about. Matt, show us your notes on NFTs and your deep knowledge of the topic. Nothing, there's nothing there. So Paul, happy to have you here, and can you tell us what an NFT? Oh, before we
go.
let's
just be honest, Paul. NFT, that means non-fungible token, correct?
Matt, before we get into NFTs, Tucker Carlson called. He wants his bow tie back.
Listen, I've been moving politically right here. I'm just trying to do an homage.
So it makes perfect sense. I also like the fact that your bow tie matches the colors of the fur.
Well, come on, man, branding. This is an internet property. I don't know if it's been explained to you. Internet property, branding.
And also, in case you didn't know who you were watching, this is Matt, that's Matt, this is Meredith. So we're like really doubling down on the branding here.
Did we trademark those yet?
I guess I have a task when I get back to the office.
Now, so non-fungible tokens, what I understand is that these are imaginary things that people in video games like to spend a lot of money on so that they can take the sword of Baldur from video game A to video game B. I mean, maybe you can explain this to me. I've read Wikipedia and various other internet sources. I don't understand. What's an NFT? Why should I give a toot?
So it's, I guess you would call it a record of an asset on the blockchain. So if we're talking about the blockchain here, which is really just a digital ledger, and it's a unique asset on the blockchain. So something like Bitcoin or Ether are interchangeable. I can trade you one Bitcoin for another Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin has the same properties as the Bitcoin you're trading for me, and same with Ether. So non-fungible tokens are really a unique asset. So in other words, they're different from all other tokens. And again, a token is just a record of ownership of this particular asset on the blockchain. What you're seeing now in terms of use cases, the best way to put it is in the world of art. So, there's many different projects in the NFT space. Take, for example, these crypto punks. Each punk is a different looking figure. Some are like apes, and some are zombies, and some are aliens, and some are humans. But each one is different.
But they're made on Microsoft Paint. Who cares?
So you care because we live, and the best way I can put it is we live in a digital world. This is how I put it. So everything is digital. Our gaming is digital. Frankly, even our money is digital, whether they're on the blockchain or not. I highly doubt you're going to the bank that often anymore. You're probably just doing it on your computer screen. Your kids and my kids will definitely be, only participating and interacting on their computers in this digital space. So really what's happening on the blockchain is they're taking these assets, and again, it could be anything that's unique, and they're trading it, within this sort of digital sphere. So that could be art, that could be ticketing, that could be your future mortgage, that could be records of your home in the future. In other words, it's all going to be digitized and stored and secured on the blockchain. So, and listen, your gaming example, by the way, is not far off. Because, for example, you could buy an NFT of a special, unique sword, and then be able to take that NFT and actually apply it into a video game. And then that sword is your sword only, and you're the only one that can use it on that game. But that becomes a very important thing for people and for individuals who are sort of living in this digital world. And if you've sort of adopted and gone over, to the dark side, so to speak, and you're living sort of in what we call Web 3, that's that next step where it's peer-to-peer networking of computing versus, having the big tech companies controlling most things on their central servers, then it's important because it's a way to own digital assets in this new digital world in which we're living. I hope that made sense.
I still don't get it. Meredith, maybe you could help out here. I'm confused still.
Yeah, I guess the big point is it's just a different type of digital asset, and the value that's ascribed to it is, the eye of the beholder. So for you, you're not going to spend any money on this digital asset at this point. In 5 years' time, you're probably going to say to Paul, I really should have bought something cheap, and what a waste, and that asset could have really gone up in all this time, because there is a growing group of people who have put some value on it, or maybe this whole thing's going to blow up in 5 years and you're going to be laughing at Paul. Could go either way. But in terms of the IP side of it all, the big question that sort of plagues my mind is, okay, you have this asset, but who's to say? And you can track back the benefit of the blockchain is that you can track back.
You have a chain of title.
Exactly, the chain of title. But that only comes to the chain of title in respect of the creation of the NFT. That doesn't mean that the person who created the NFT actually owns copyright in the underlying work. So, for example, I can make an NFT of this media property.
Let's make an NFT of your mug. Let's take a picture of your mug and let's mint that and put a record of it on the blockchain, okay? But now let's only mint one of them. So it's a one of one. So now you've created scarcity. So that's the first thing that's really important about these NFTs, which is typically the projects, again, it could be anything, are scarce. So again, if you think back to collecting baseball cards or whatever, if someone said to you 20 years ago, if you went to a collectible shop, okay, I have a one of one or a 10 of 10 or 1,000 of 1,000 of this particular thing, one would assume the price would go up on it, and that's what's happening. So
let's say I own It's a Wonderful Life, just to pick a random old movie. I can then carve that up like a piece of bread into a bunch of NFTs for each scene or each image.
Yeah. Let's use a real world example. I'm going to take that example and put it over to sports. So one of the most popular NFT marketplaces is called Top Shot, right? So this is a collaboration between the NBA and a company called Dapper Labs out of Vancouver, actually. And so what they've done is they've taken what they coined them as moments. They take essentially 3-second clips of whomever. It could be LeBron James dunking a basketball. And that 3 seconds of LeBron James then becomes an NFT. So you can buy that NFT, and it's probably going to be worth a lot of money because they're only going to release, however many of them, but there won't be a lot, right? Because it's LeBron James and he's a huge superstar, and the NBA is going to say, no, let's only release a few so that people really want them and they clamor for them. But we'll also release a bunch of, more or less rare NFTs as well. But that LeBron James dunk is just a 3-second clip.
It's a virtual baseball card.
Yeah. In that context, it is. The difference is, of course, that record of it is on the blockchain. So people want to feel like they own something unique. That's the first thing. It's ownership of something unique that is tradable. So it's mine. I can prove that it's mine because my particular identification is on the blockchain that I own this thing. And then it's really tradable. So instead of going to school and in the schoolyard you're trading baseball cards, you're now trading with every single person in the world who has a computer. So it opens up this really liquid marketplace for trading these assets. And it's also immutable. No one's going to steal it. No one's going to take it from you because it's all secured on the blockchain.
The bully can't steal this baseball card from you.
I guess they can force you to, pull out your computer and transfer it. But I guess.
And also, you're not going to lose it. Everyone's going to know it's yours forever unless you trade it off to someone else. But again, using the Top Shot example to Meredith's point, if I buy that NFT of LeBron James dunking in basketball, I have no right to the underlying asset there. I can't go use that clip and put it on YouTube. I can't take that clip and market it as my own. I only have that one particular NFT asset that I can trade in a particular marketplace. So I have no right to LeBron James' image outside of that NFT. I have no right to the IP of the Los Angeles Lakers or NBA property. So it is unique to that particular asset. It needs to be clear that the underlying right itself is not transferable.
Yeah, and I guess it just creates a whole bag of issues. Let's say there's a fan in the back of the NBA of that dunk. and they're making a funny face. And part of the value of that NFT is that fan's reaction. That fan's not going to make any money. Is that fan going to have some sort of privacy right claim against whoever created the NFT, sells the NFT, transfers the NFT? Is, you know, the celebrity going to say, I agreed to play basketball, I didn't agree to be the subject of this NFT that's, you know, hanging in some guy's, you know, in his house without any sort of knowledge about.
Well, I think most of the league contracts make it pretty clear that the league owns everything. But
well, NFTs didn't exist at the time that a lot of these athletes entered into these agreements. So who knows what the scope of that agreement really relates to? And
so in the real world, though, and let's get into the real world, there's no physical value to these things. They're not fixed to any kind of valuation. It's all about market, about people who care enough to buy what are, let's say, imaginary properties and trade them just on the basis that they are the only one or one of the very few with the rights to do so. Am I getting it?
Yeah, and again, it's the sort of transition away from the importance of our physical assets and into the digital assets. So, you know, you may care a lot more about owning that physical hockey card, and you want to hold it and you want to show it off. But in this new digital world, we care far more about, you know, the digital aspect of that hockey card. We want to take whatever NFT we have and make it our profile picture on Twitter. You know, if you go to Twitter right now, like Jay-Z's profile picture is of an NFT project called CryptoPunks. It's a pixelated image from a CryptoPunk project. If you go to Steph Curry's Twitter account, plays for the Golden State Warriors, he's got a project called Bored Apes. It just looks like a cartoon ape that should mean nothing to you, Matt, but to people in this world trading and enjoying the NFT world, it's a big deal and it's worth a lot of money. So like there's this cultural shift happening away from the physical world into the digital, and NFTs are sort of the assets where, you know, you're trying to essentially buy a piece of the internet, let's say. I think that's probably the best way to put it. It's property rights in the internet.
This is fascinating. I'm going to keep pondering it, but, you know, I did make some notes today, and, you know, I don't know if you can see this, but I still am left with a big question here, and, you know, I'm going to have to go and do some studying, but obviously Jay-Z knows better than this guy. Meredith, any closing comment on this? It's very grateful, Paul, for coming. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks so much, Paul. This has been great. Until next time, maybe I can convince Matt to buy a CryptoPunk, or maybe even a portion of one. Maybe we'll
I'd rather get a Porsche, but
hey Matt,
anyway.
Matt, come down the rabbit hole, and next time we speak, you'll be a convert. I promise.
Sounds good. All right, it's been great. Thanks for coming on our show, Media in the Morning, with my co-host Meredith. We look forward to seeing you next time on our next show, which may or may not be Halloween themed. Have a great day.
Have a great day, everyone. Denton's is a global legal practice providing client services worldwide through its member firms and affiliates. This episode is not designed to provide legal advice, and you should not take or refrain from taking action based on this content. Please see dentons.com for legal notice.